Well, good afternoon. It's Wednesday, it's 4 o'clock, which means only one thing, of course. It's Wellbeing Wednesday live right here on the Educate to Flourish YouTube channel. And today, it's not just me. I actually have a very fabulous guest with me in the studio. So I'll just bring her in to say hello. And it's the fabulous Pam Burrows, People Booster. Hello, Pam.
Hello, Frederica. It's lovely to be here.
It's so lovely to have you here. I'm so happy to have you here. I've been excited all week, looking forward to it. But before we talk about all the wonderful things you're going to talk about and your stress-busting tips today, we've got a couple of things to do. So obviously I'll let our audience know a little bit about who I am and why I'm here, but also we have our usual activity of doing the emotional temperature of the room. So I'll just very briefly remind everybody who perhaps is here for the first time. I'm Frederica Roberts. I'm the founder and managing director of Educate to Flourish. It's a community interest company that I set up in order to support children's flourishing. That's really the simplest way of putting that. And that can take many forms. It can be workshops and training with children, with their teachers, with their parents. It can be supporting and carrying out research into well-being and lots of other activities. And at the moment, we're in the process of putting in a really exciting funding bid. So we'll keep you posted on that as things develop. And keep your fingers crossed for us and for all the children that we want to help with that. I am also the author of a few books, so just bear with me while I change my backdrop. Ta-da! Here we go. So I'm the author of Recipe for Happiness and Character Toolkit for Teachers, which have been out for a little while, but I'm very excited today because this, for flourishing's sake, is actually being published tomorrow. So due to COVID-19, it's been done in two phases. So tomorrow it's going to be the Kindle version. Even though I have a physical copy, there's only me and the endorsers and the people who feature in the book as case studies that have copies, and nobody else has. But tomorrow the Kindle comes out and then the physical copy comes out on the 21st of August. So we're having a multi-date book launch. And then also tomorrow, the companion product to the Character Toolkit for Teachers book that I wrote with Elizabeth Wright is out, and that's the Character Toolkit Strength Cards. So they're available to order already from Jessica Kingsley Publishers. So more on that on various social media channels if you follow my channels. But without too much further ado, let's go to the emotional temperature. So I'm going to share the screen with you so that you can see. This is what happens when you're like on a new thing. Right, try it again. Fancy software, and I haven't got used to it yet. Here we go. So I'll bring Pam back in as well so you can see the two of us as we talk about the things that we're mentioning in our emotional temperature. So while we talk about the words that we've put on there, you can join in, and it's really good to see how people watching are feeling at the moment. So if you go to pollev.com, and you can see that at the top of your screen there, pollev.com, and you can either go straight away /Frederica Rob 992, or just go to pollev.com, and then it gives you a little box and you can type in the username Frederica Rob 992. And then just type in individual words to describe how you're feeling right now, what your emotions are at the moment, or you can put emojis in as well. Just don't put 2 or 3 word phrases because it'll split them up and then it won't make sense. So individual words or emojis, and it'll put them on there. So Pam, and I will introduce you properly as well. I'll do that now while people get a chance to go onto the site. So Pam Burrows is known as the People Booster, and she's just one of those people, when she walks into the room, you feel that she really does practice what she preaches. She has this energy about her that's so fantastically positive. And I've met Pam now, it's been a few years, hasn't it, Pam, through the Professional Speaking Association?
Yeah, I reckon 5 or 6 years maybe.
Something like that. So we've met at a few events through the PSA, the Professional Speaking Association, up and down the country. And it's the first time we've actually done anything kind of working together. We've presented at the same events from time to time, but we've not actually worked together like this. So it's very exciting. But I'll let Pam introduce herself properly when she talks about her stress busting tips in a moment. So Pam, do you want to talk about any of the words you put on there at all in terms of your emotional temperature?
Yeah, it was interesting when you asked me to put them in, because I put the first one, which was chilled, and then I put excited, and I thought, they seem to be contrasting. And but I think it's very different. So as a speaker, sometimes I get overly excited or perhaps overly nervous if it's a very big talk that I'm doing, and the excitedness becomes all-consuming. But today I'm excited about doing this with you, but I also feel really chilled. I feel like, yeah, let's just go with the flow. It's just going to be lovely. And I like that contrast. I like that balance between chilled and excited. And then the other thing I put was resourceful, because at the start of lockdown, I was feeling a bit wonky. I'll talk about that when I get into my bit. But I was feeling a bit wonky. And then over time, I've had some online work that's come into my diary. And I'm feeling like, oh, yeah, I know stuff. I can do stuff. I've been using it on myself as well. So I'm actually like, oh, this stuff works. So that's been great to feel resourceful again.
Fantastic, and they're great words, those as well. And resourceful is something that I think, you know, it's got a sort of sense of movement to it as well, that you're going somewhere and you're doing something. And I think we've all felt a bit wonky at the beginning, and at times throughout lockdown. It's a strange time, and it's something I've talked quite a lot about on these Wellbeing Wednesday live sessions, you know, and it's okay. I mean, it wouldn't be quite normal, would it, to feel like nothing's wrong all of the time? I mean, it's not a normal time to go through. So we all feel wonky from time to time, and then when you feel resourceful, it's got that energy about it that you're kind of in the flow and you're doing stuff. Well, excited is a word that we both put down because it's come out really big. The more people put the same word, the bigger it gets on these things. And I'm feeling very excited, well, as I've already mentioned, because I've got my book and my cards coming out tomorrow, which is very exciting. I've also put tired, because I've got my book and my cards coming out tomorrow. And with doing a virtual book launch, I thought, oh, I know what I'll do. I was going to do a panel discussion with some of I interviewed lots of people for my book, educators, about the stuff that they're doing in schools with positive education. And so I thought, wouldn't it be great to do an actual book launch event where you have a panel where some of these contributors feature? So then I thought, well, if I'm not having a physical launch event, I can have a virtual panel. That's great. And there were quite a few people that contributed to the book. So I put a call out to all of them saying, you know, who would like to participate, bearing in mind they're all over the world as well. And I was so bowled over by the positive response, because these people are such busy teachers, head teachers, etc. And they all went, yeah. So I ended up with 16 panelists, which meant I thought, okay, I'll put on a number of panels then. So I'm doing 3 tomorrow, and then another one on the 21st of August when the paperback comes out. So it's been a bit mad activity, coordinating all the time slots, all the links and everything else. But I'm so lucky to have so many really busy educators willing to give up their time. And one of them is logging in at some ridiculous time in the morning. I think it's very early hours because she's in Australia, so it's actually going to be Friday when she comes in tomorrow. And another one's coming in at 10 o'clock at night from Dubai, you know, so it's like so I think they'll be tired as well. So I'll stop moaning about being tired. And I feel cheeky, because I do, when I'm just got stuff going on and I'm just like saying, yeah, I'll just mention it. But that's also why there's that little emoji. I love that emoji, the head exploding. Because I've also started last week a part-time job as a trainer for a small mental health charity, which is fantastic work. But so there's a lot of that to take in as well at the moment. So my brain's just going, woo! But that's me. So I'll take that screen off again now, and then we're ready to go with our next stuff. So it's over to you, Pam, really. It's over to you to introduce yourself and then do your stuff.
Okay, thank you, Frederica, and delightful to be here. Hello to you. So, Pam Burrows, People Booster. I go into organisations and I help them to reduce stress and boost confidence and morale. So I might go into an organisation for one session or for lots of sessions over a number of years. Basically, we're looking at stress management. So there's some structural stuff about how the company or organisation deals with stress, assesses it, reduces it, all of that. But the stuff that I really love is the stuff that I'm going to talk to you about today, which is what can individuals do for themselves to feel less stressed and not get wound up about stuff. And most importantly, I think, because in a lot of ways, stress is inevitable, a certain level of it is inevitable. So it's about how do we release it? How do we let go of it? How do we avoid that moment when you're lying in bed going, I've got to stop thinking about that. I've got to stop thinking about that. And the more you say that, the more you think about it. And just kind of getting more and more wound up. So, one of the things that I'd like us to achieve during these few minutes that we have together is to think about the way in which you do your whole day. So if, for instance, sleep has been an issue for you, then not just think about bedtime being, that there's some magic thing that you can do at bedtime. There are some really good things you can do at bedtime, but actually it's what you do all through the rest of the day. So how are you doing your day? Because I know that what sometimes happens is we go through the day, like trying to do the best we can, busy, spinning all the plates, doing 60 million things. And whatever you're doing, you're worrying about the other thing that you're not doing. And then you get to the end of the day and you get one of these. Hammer. And you go, oh, I didn't get everything done. And I got that wrong. And that didn't work. And there was something I forgot. And there was something I broke. And I'm not as good at this as I hoped I would be. And we just beat ourselves up. So what I want you to do is I want you to imagine that you actually have a real one of these in your head. And just throw it away. Just stop beating yourself up. Especially at the moment, because we've got more going on, haven't we? You've not just got things that you've got to do, but we've got all the things in our head. Have you found that yourself, Frederica, that there's this kind of underlying hum of the crisis, and then there's everything else you've just got to get on with? Yeah. And let me ask you, Frederica, are you expecting the same of yourself, the same level of work, intensity of work, speed of work that you were before lockdown?
I think I was initially, and I was finding that very frustrating. Then I went through an acceptance stage of kind of, no, it's okay. I don't have to manage quite as much. And then things just went a bit mad with the new part-time job and the launch, and I had a uni essay due the other week. And so actually I had to sort of go back into my mode of actually, for a while, just forget about everything else that's going on right out there and just go back to just everything's normal and this is how you work. At some point after all this crazy level of activity dies off, I think I'll be back to, okay, now I need to relearn to accept that I can't keep, because actually everything is kind of, and it's, even when it's not your work that takes longer, it's other stuff that takes longer, isn't it? I mean, just doing shopping online can take forever, or having to phone somebody for something and you're in a queue for 2 hours, so everything else then backs up, so you can't get everything done as much. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's true. And so if we acknowledge just the bottom line, you've already got a new load, which is the crisis. Then, as you quite rightly say, you've then got all the extra loads on that, which is that shopping takes longer. I actually was unable to get online shopping, so I have to physically go shopping, queue outside the supermarket, do all that stuff. My mum was similar, so I do my shopping for my mum, and then I deliver that to her. And so, yeah, loads and loads of things, and then everything else. So the thing we really need to recognise is just how much we are achieving. It's really, really important that we do that. That you don't get to the end of the day and beat yourself up for what you haven't done, but look at what you have done. And I know that, Frederica, you suggested people watch the video that I did about reacting to crisis. And if you haven't watched that yet, then give that a look, because It explains the psychology of where we're at. But in short, the thing I really wanted to share with you, especially if you're working with children, looking after your own children in education, is that you might sometimes be a bit like this. So this is my Wonder Bear. And when we react to crisis, what often happens is that the first stage of the crisis is where we're trying to prepare. We're getting very anxious about what we need to do. We don't know a lot of things. Like at the beginning of lockdown, we didn't really know how it was going to pan out, what we were going to do. And then we go into superhero mode. So if you recognize this, when I first saw that psychological process, I thought, oh, that's why I leapt into action. I started doing every single day. I do a morning video to motivate people and help them understand what was going on, help them to be less stressed every single day, 7 days a week. And what I'd done is I'd gone into something needs to happen. I've got to do something.
Yeah.
Hero mode. And do you recognize that, Federica?
Absolutely. I do recognize that, and it definitely felt like that at the start. It was like, I've got to do everything, and of course what we do is we look at what other people are doing, don't we? And if everybody's gone into superhero mode, then we kind of go on to superhero on steroids, don't we? Because we're like, oh well, they're doing all these things, why am I not up at 5 o'clock in the morning doing a motivational video? Why am I not? So it just gets worse and worse, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And I think, even if you could go back and start again, you probably still need to do some of that stuff because it makes us feel active and proactive and maybe a little bit in control of so many things that you can't control. So for me, it's about being able to put that energy somewhere at least. But the problem with being a superhero and having your shiny pants on the outside is that everybody then sees you as a superhero. Everybody wants something from you, leans upon you, thinks you're fine, maybe doesn't check whether you're okay because you're there, I can help, I'm the superhero. You're helping everybody else and nobody really checks in with you. So you've got to do that for yourself. You've got to check in with yourself. And then the next phase of the reacting to crisis, the third of the 4 phases, is where we are just full on. We're just doing as much as we possibly can. And even for people who are furloughed, if they're, for whatever reason, they're not that occupied during the day, there still is this busyness, as I say, this kind of load that we've got in just coping every day with the crisis. And it's in that phase that we start to realise how tired we are. And we might get a bit grumpy and we might start flying off the handle a bit unreasonably, kind of like, oh God, why is that winding me up so much? Or why am I so angry that my neighbour didn't come out and clap on that Thursday that was the last Thursday to do it? Why didn't they? We're getting into blaming or being angry with ourselves or disappointed or frustrated. And that's all part of reacting to crisis. We have to give ourselves credit for what we're coping with, and that those emotions are going to come up. It's a very emotional time. If you're also home educating, if you're working in a school and you're going in and you're worried about infection and you're worried about the children and just worried about everything that's happening, then we have to acknowledge that emotional load is already right up there. In the same way that, a bad time of the year. I don't know, a lot of teachers talk about the run up to Christmas, when you've got the Christmas play and you've got all the stuff going on and just dealing with everything at once. And it's like doing that for all of the time for the last 3 months or whatever. So that level of stress. And when we start to realise that we've got to take our superhero pants off from time to time and just realise that we're just doing the best that we can with what we've got. And that every single day, when you start to notice that you are achieving, even if you haven't got an awful lot to do, just getting up, just getting dressed some days, or not getting dressed, but just saying it's okay and giving yourself credit for coping with the situation and noticing what you are achieving. And I know there's been quite a lot of talking about, worrying about children's academic progress. And then other people saying, well, do you know, let's just acknowledge that kids are coping with the crisis and that they're learning how to be at home and they're learning how to be at school with new rules, and just give them some slack, you know. So all of us at the moment have to acknowledge what we are doing rather than what we're not doing, and realize that at the end of every single day, we might need to just take a breath and say, do you know what? Today I did the best I can with what I had, and I didn't do too bad, and to acknowledge those things.
Yeah.
So so that switching off thing, we'll talk in a bit about things that I can help with. And one of those is that I have loads and loads of stuff on YouTube that is just free resources, free techniques for you. And one of those is a playlist called Switch Off Techniques. So you can just find that if you find Pam Burrows People Booster on YouTube. You can find that, and it's basically a whole series of things you can do that help you to switch off at night time, so that when you do go to sleep, instead of going busy, lie down. Oh, why can't I sleep? And beating yourself up for not being able to just switch off. I think of it like this: you kind of picture in your head a hamster in a wheel, and the hamster's going faster and faster and faster and faster, and then it stops the wheel and expects to just fall asleep, and instead it's pinged off to the other side of the coast. And I just always picture that when we're kind of expecting ourselves after a really busy, stressful day to just switch off. And actually what we need to do is have little moments through the day where we just stop to breathe, notice what we're doing that's going well. And then at the end of the day, do a little something. And if you don't bother going to look at YouTube, if you don't look at any of the resources I'm going to give you, if you don't read the very free book I'm going to offer you, the one thing I'd say is try this. Just before you go to sleep, lie on your back on the floor with your legs up the wall. So you're lying down and then your legs are up the wall like this. So you're at right angles. And just do some long breaths while you're there. It just gives the heart a rest, resettles the nervous system, and you will sleep a lot better. So even if you don't do anything else, lying on your back with your legs straight up the wall sounds really bonkers. You could even do it in bed with your legs up the headboard, and just breathe like that for a couple of minutes. 5 minutes would be even better. And just notice the difference, because what we can do when we're really busy, and when there's a lot going on, a lot in our heads, is we say things like, oh, there's no time to do a relaxation. There's no time to do any kind of technique. There's no time to meditate. There's no time for yoga, blah, 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 all of these things. And actually, you can breathe while you're boiling the kettle. You can breathe while you're at a red traffic light. You can just relax your shoulders and ease the tension out just while you're actually at work doing some work. So about giving yourself those moments, realizing how important it is to look after yourself and to make sure that's in place first. So, oops. Just to show you how to deal with stress, you know, like when you're crashing.
That was like a shoulder shake then, wasn't it?
That's it. Yeah. Actually, I'm glad you said that, Frederica, because one of my very favorite things that I've discovered over the last few years is shaking. And there's a tribe in Africa who actually use shaking for medicine. So the medics would actually say to you, okay, you need to shake for X amount of time, or this part of the body or whatever. I've got a video on that as well. And it's just amazing. It's just, and again, you can do the whole shaking video and have a go at it and let it form a new habit, which is very good for you, for letting go and resetting the nervous system. But if you don't do anything else, the smallest thing you can do is to flap your wrists up and down this way. So not as if you're shaking water off, but up and down as if you're a 2-year-old waving goodbye. And there's something about the nerve endings in the wrists here that just rebalances you. And then you can start to shake the whole body and shake your shoulders and wave your legs around and wiggle your hips and just do the whole thing. You can put on Taylor Swift, Shake It Off song and really go for it. But honestly, we sometimes underestimate how the smallest and sometimes silliest things can help us to feel better.
Wow, I love that.
Have a go.
It makes me laugh, if nothing else. It's like going straight into laughing.
And of course, laughing is an internal workout, so that's good for you too.
Exactly.
So how are we for time, Frederica? I could talk all day.
We're just about there, really. We're getting to the wrap up. So I know you wanted to share a particular resource that you don't normally share unless people are in your workshop.
I do.
You want me to share the screen and share that at the moment so you can tell people what it is?
That would be great. That'd be great. So so if people come on an actual workshop in person, or they have an online workshop for their organisation, then I give them the secret URL to this page here. And there's just loads of stuff on there to help and support you ongoing. So there's things on there that are the slides from the workshops that I do. There are videos that you can watch. So there's the slides there. And then further down, there's videos and audios to help you to reduce and relax. Oh, and there, just past you by, is the book there, Burnout Buster. So that's a copy of it there. And
let me get you back on screen.
It's a short, very easy to read book. 33 red flags that let you know you're heading for burnout, and 33 things to do about them. It's quite an easy read, and there's a few stories of people that I know who've burnt out, and how I'd recommend you avoid that. So on that page that Frederica was just showing you, there's your free PDF copy. So it's not an ebook. If you want the ebook, it's on Amazon. I think it's $3.99 or something. And then I think it's $2.99 for the ebook and $3.99, $4.99 for the, I should know, shouldn't I, for the paper. But if you're happy to just flick through a PDF, that's completely free for you there on the website. And then scrolling down, there's some videos. There's a holiday. If you've missed your holiday this year, if you've had to cancel, there's a virtual beach holiday for you there. You just click, those waves roll in, it's the Maldives. And then there's me talking, giving a relaxation, imagining that you're on a beach. The shield technique, which is great for not absorbing everybody else's stuff and getting stressed by all the things that are happening around you. And various other things. I talk about the care model there, which is my next book, which is going to come out soon. Sanity Spaces, which is about creating a bit of space in your head when everybody's driving you crazy, etc., etc. So loads of things on there. And all you need to do is go to pamburrows.com/more, MORE, and get some more. So I hope that will be useful to you. But also, if you're on the website, at the bottom of every page, you can sign up for my Monday message, which comes out 6 a.m. every Monday morning to give you a little lift. The one email you'll get a week that, thank you. The one email you'll get each week that isn't asking you to do anything other than look after yourself. And I usually pop a little video on there as well, a little technique or something to try out as well. Completely free, and you don't get spammed or anything. It's just a little freebie. Again, it's something that I usually offer to people who've been on a workshop just to keep the good stuff going. So yeah, so that's that. Loads. If you put Pam Burrows People Booster into Google, you'll find me on most social media and with free stuff. So yeah, help yourself.
That's very, very generous of you, Pam. Thank you so much. And so many amazing resources. And I've got there on the screen, you can see next to me, you can email Pam at pamburrows.com. So it's a nice, easy email address to remember. And website is pamburrows.com, or as I said there, search Pam Burrows People Booster and you'll find Pam and all of her resources, which is fantastic. Now, I've just got one other resource. I always try and find resources. I've talked enough about my book and my cards today, so I won't mention those again, but I always look for other resources that are out there that are absolutely free, that other people have produced, that are relevant to educators. And today I've become aware of a fantastic resource by Lee Waters, who is the the brilliant Australian academic and educator, expert in positive psychology and author of The Strength Switch, which is her brilliant book about strengths-based parenting. And she has brought out, so let me just get back to sharing the screen. She has brought out this brilliant series of webinars. So if you just go to leewaters.com/free-webinars, and you'll actually see that she's done free webinars with some fantastic speakers on teacher wellbeing, on student wellbeing, and positive lessons from COVID-19 for schools, and they're all there. Now the link, as well as loads of links to stuff that Pam has shared apart from that website where you had to pay attention, the /more, because that one is really just for you as an audience. We didn't want to just post that for anybody to pick up from the video description, but all the other links, Pam's website and YouTube channel and various bits and pieces are in the description of this video when you go to the replay on YouTube. So you'll have all of that, and the link to the Lee Waters resource is on there as well. So you don't have to remember the links, they're all there for you to find. You can see scrolling at the bottom, you've got the hashtag. So if you want to get in touch with me on Twitter and just comment anything about this session or any suggestions for future sessions, then by all means you can use the hashtags Wellbeing Wednesday Live, or if you have fewer characters, WBWedLive, and I look out for those. And you can contact me. I have a few Twitter accounts, but the most relevant ones for this, either on my own at Frederica R, or at the Educate to Flourish one, which is at EduFlourish, and you can email me fred@educatetoflourish.org.uk. So all the details are there. I'll be back next week. It'll be just me next week, so I get you all to myself. And then the week after that, we've got the lovely Kelly Hannigan in here as well. So that's what's coming up in the next couple of weeks. But next week, I'll be back with you, and I don't know what I'm going to talk about yet, because I'm going to see what's topical next week in education. It changes on a, I would say, daily basis. I think it's on an hourly basis, talking to my teacher and school leader friends, depending on what new 41-point document they've received that hour. So I'll think of something topical depending on what's happening that day next week. But I will definitely be back with some more well-being tips. But I just want to say a huge thank you again to Pam for so generously and so energetically. You're just like a breath of fresh air, Pam. I did worry. I worried you were going to strip off the teddy bear when you said take off your superhero pants. I thought, oh no, you can't do that to the poor teddy bear.
I should say wear them on the inside rather than take them off, and then you won't get into so much trouble.
I was starting to get really concerned about the teddy. Well, I love that, and some really clear messages that we can all remember. You know, the visuals there with the inflatable hammer. We all do that, and the teddy and its superhero pants. I love that. So thank you so much.
You're very
back out. Thank you so much, and thank you everybody for watching. And I'll be back next week for another Wellbeing Wednesday Live right here on the Educate to Flourish YouTube channel. Bye bye for now.